Hello everyone, my name is Benjamin. I am from England, but I live in Russia and I help native Russian speakers improve their English skills. In this video, you will learn some new words and phrases in English, and I'm going to talk about 6 things that I kind of miss about the United Kingdom, my home country. Today is a lovely spring day here in Novosibirsk in Siberia. Well, it is a little bit cloudy, it's a little bit windy, but that's not a problem. The trees have leaves on them, the grass is green, and it is t-shirt weather, meaning that it is quite warm. I believe it is about 19, maybe 20 degrees Celsius, which in my opinion is a lovely temperature. Now, before I start speaking about the 6 things that I kind of miss about England, I need to say I love living in Russia. Russia is an awesome country. I have been studying Russian for a long time. I absolutely adore the Russian language, and I love learning about Russian culture, Russian history, and I love trying different types of Russian food. But of course, there are some small things that I miss about England, and I'm going to talk to you about them right now in this video. The first thing I would say that I quite miss about the UK is riding my bicycle everywhere. England, or the UK, has amazing infrastructure for cyclists, meaning that you can ride your bike everywhere. The drivers on the road in the UK are quite used to having cyclists on the road, meaning that it is quite safe to ride your bicycle in the streets, on the road in the UK. Moreover, you can find some cycle lanes in big major cities. It's really good. In the Netherlands, it is even better, but the UK has a great infrastructure for cyclists. Also, I need to say that in the UK, there are many great bicycle shops where you can buy good quality, cheap spare parts from all sorts of countries, including China and Italy. If you are in London, I really recommend renting a bicycle because it's a great way to see the city. Public transportation in London is really quite expensive, and riding a bicycle is an excellent, cheap alternative to paying for a bus or paying for a train or paying for a taxi. Also, if you live in London, there are many good meetups. What I mean by meetups is when people get together, when people gather together, and you can ride your bike in a big group of people. My favorite meetup is called Critical Mass. It's really fun. It's not only in London, I believe. I believe there is a Critical Mass meetup in other cities, but the Critical Mass meetup in London's really cool. Usually around, I would say 80, maybe more people get together on their bicycles, and you can ride around the city at night time. I have some really cool memories of riding around London at night next to Buckingham Palace and Big Ben. It's really cool. So if you're in London, definitely rent a bike. It will make your experience really fun. The second thing I quite miss about the UK are 2 types of foods. The first type of food is, of course, fish and chips. Fish and chips is the very famous British national dish. There are 3 main types of fish that are used for this dish. The main 3 types are called plaice, haddock, and cod. And the fish is fried in this thing called batter. Batter is this kind of brown, yellowy brown kind of substance thing which is around the outside of the fish. It's really tasty, and it's really good if you are at a pub or if you're drinking a good pint of British beer. I would say that beer is one of the things I miss about the UK, but recently I have stopped drinking because I get really bad headaches and I can't deal with them. But anyway, fish and chips are great, and usually fish and chips are served with this thing called mushy peas. Mushy peas are just peas that are mushed together. It does not look very tasty, but trust me, I really recommend that you try fish and chips with mushy peas. And of course, you need to have fish and chips with vinegar. The vinegar makes the chips taste really good. The second food item that I need to mention that I miss in the United Kingdom is Indian curry. Yes, you might say Indian curry is not from England, but really it is, because there are Indian curries from India and Indian curries from England. They're quite different, I hear. The Indian curries in England are, I believe they're slightly creamier and they have just a different flavor and a different texture. But Indian curries are an absolute must if you are in the United Kingdom. My favorite Indian curry is called lamb rogan josh. Just Google it, really tasty. It's like lamb with some kind of tomato sauce. You definitely need to try it. The third thing I quite miss about the United Kingdom are the parks. The parks are so green, they are so luscious in the United Kingdom. If you are in London, I really recommend visiting, number one, Battersea Park. Battersea Park is really cool. In the middle of the park, you have this big Buddhist pagoda. It is absolutely beautiful. And of course, there are many plants and other things to check out in that big park. It is right next to the River Thames, so you can have a beautiful walk on a nice summer's day. Well, you can walk there in the winter. It might just be a bit rainy, so best to go there in the spring or the summer. I also recommend Richmond Park. Richmond Park is in the southwest of London. It is quite far away from the centre of London, but that's not a problem. It's really worth visiting because the air there is really fresh and you can even find wild deer. And when I last went to Richmond Park, a deer came up to me and licked me, which I was really surprised about because I thought that deer were supposed to be scared of people. If you are in central London, you need to visit Hyde Park, of course. That's just a must-see. It's in central London. A lot of people hang out there. You also have Kensington Gardens, which is great to check out. Also Green Park. Green Park is next to Buckingham Palace. It's a pretty cool place. Oh, and how can I forget? You need to go to Kew Gardens. Kew Gardens is a national treasure. You can find many different plants and beautiful things in that garden, although you do have to pay to get into Kew Gardens. But if you are in London, I thoroughly recommend it. Alright, I had to move away from that leaf blower. He was really loud with that leaf blower. Anyway, the fourth thing I quite miss about the United Kingdom is the airports. You can travel all across the world at a cheap price from the airports in the UK. If you live in London, there are numerous airports including Heathrow, Gatwick, Stansted, Luton, Southend. Yeah, many different airports, and you can fly places really cheap. If you like traveling to Europe, then yeah, the UK is a great place to live because you can just get on a plane and go anywhere you like within a few hours. If you are on a budget, then there are a few airlines I recommend flying with. If you are in the UK, they include Wizz Air, EasyJet and Ryanair. Sometimes you can even find flights as cheap as £9, which is absolutely incredible, especially given that in the UK you can easily spend £40 just taking the train for 30 minutes. For instance, from London to Brighton, you're going to spend a lot of money taking the train. Whereas if you want to get the plane, or if you want to take a plane somewhere, you can really find a good, cheap deal. The fifth thing I quite miss about the UK, well, this is a strange one, but I quite miss the foxes in the UK. Now, foxes, they do look like sweet animals, but they actually make really horrible noises at night. If you live in London and you are new to London, you will be surprised to hear these horrible, scary noises at night of these foxes screaming at the top of their lungs. it is really a strange noise to hear. I believe it is because the foxes are in mating season and they want to attract each other. But I know this sounds like something that's strange, but it's really funny. Like every night I would hear this noise and I would laugh so much. So really it should be on the list of things that I find really annoying about the UK. But it made me laugh so much that it's on my list of things that I miss about the UK. The last thing I quite miss about the UK is the idea of queuing. In England, we love to queue. We love the order of waiting in a queue. In Russia, you'd have a different concept of queuing. When you go to the post office or when you go to a hospital, you have to walk into the building and say "Кто последний?", which means who is last in line. This is something I can't stand. I don't understand the logic of it. But that being said, I'm not criticizing Russia because I love Russia. I think Russia does a lot of things way better than the UK. But this is something that I miss about the UK. When it comes to lines, or queues as we say in England, it is so simple. You just stand in line and you don't have to ask people who is in front of who is behind who, where the things are. It's so much simpler. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching this video till the end. If you have any questions or if you want to share your thoughts, please feel free to leave me a comment. And also, give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It really would help me out, and I would really appreciate that. So thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and bye for now.